China, but I do tell the odd story about the bad. I tell the good, bad, and ugly about China, but mostly I like to see the good in China. Off to you, Alex.
Alex,
Me?
absolute.
Right, yeah, so, sorry, wrong Alex, wrong Alex. Yeah, so, if you guys haven't seen me before, my name is Alex Absolute. I'm a Brit that's living here in China since 2013, not as long as everybody else, but yeah, love China. My channel isn't so much about the politics of China, it's kind of, I wouldn't say I was not pro-China, but I'm pro-me. I like,
I'm pro me too.
yeah, you do.
Go ahead,
I
Matt.
can hear,
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to crunch over your.
No.
I realized I thought Gweilo was talking, and it's because I haven't muted my live stream on the other side.
Yeah,
Naughty
me too.
boy. Naughty boys. We tell you all the
Sorry,
time.
guys. Sorry, guys. Awkward pause because I done the technical fault. All right, anyway.
So, Mr. Matt in Ningbo, right? Ningbo, have I got that right?
You got it right. I'm in Ningbo. I am south of Shanghai. Right on. Is it still? It's got to be the top 10 fastest trains in the world, right? It might not be the fastest.
Oh, yeah.
But it's pretty damn fast.
No, it's damn fast.
I am typically, I'm typically cycling around the world from China to the United States. I started that project about 7 years ago. I'm still barely out of the box. You know, keep pandemics and life things and everything kind of gets in the way. But I am also a fairly active China blogger. I've been promoting my life here in China because I think it's interesting as an American, 40 years old, who's lived in a bunch of places in the USA and traveled a lot around China. I think I have a little bit to offer with regards to that. And I think that a lot of times what you hear in the mainstream and what you hear from a lot of corners of even YouTube is not necessarily what it's like here. So I've tried to shed some of my own personal light on my life here in China. And my life in China is a lot different than Kirk's up there and a lot different than Alex over there. And so I think that if we all come together and share what we're doing, maybe it can help other people understand who are in the midst of their own lives. And now in particular, it's even more important because so much crazy stuff is going on and China's in the limelight, and so is a lot of Western countries, and we're all trying to go through this together. So the pause in my life of normally cycling around the world is sort of welcome because we have some things to talk about. Do you hear that wind blowing past my ear?
A little bit, yeah. No problem. We know how to address it anyway. So before we get into the meat and potatoes of today's program, I just thought, before the show, we were all chatting backstage, and I don't know if we've told you enough about us as, content creators here on YouTube. And I think it's quite important to see and to understand as each individual on this show, we call it 4 Channels, 1 China, is so that you can understand where we're forming our opinion from, where we're getting our data from, and why people call us shills or something along that line. So I'm going to start with Kurt, and Kurt Gweilo 60 there in the top panel on that side, I believe it is to me. Kurt, maybe you can tell us about your channel a little bit, what you kind of do and how you kind of make videos, and in a couple of minutes, just give it a wrap up to what you kind of do and how you form your opinion, sir.
My opinions are formed on personal experience. I've been, as I said before, I've been in Nanning about 17 years now, coming up 17 years on August 1st of this year. And I've got friends, I've got family in China, I've got experiences that go back to 2003 when I met Wei Fong, my wife of 17 years now, thank God. But the progression through when we first bought a place in China, Wei Fong was from Nanning. We bought it down in Beihai because I wanted to be by the sea, and that didn't work out. We were there for just over a year, and then we moved back up to Nanning, and I found that Nanning is probably one of the neatest places in all of China. And we went back to Canada. I started watching other bloggers, Chinese bloggers, and I thought, geez, I can do that. It's so I went out and I bought myself a little GoPro. I bought myself a computer and some software. And when I came back to China, I thought, well, here, I'll put out a couple of videos and see how it goes. And lo and behold, I think my second video hit 10,000 hits, and I thought, oh, people are interested. Okay, so and I was camera shy back then. I'm not camera shy anymore, as people probably know. But now I just go out onto the streets. I pick topics. A lot of my topics come from the people that comment on my channel. Subscribers that say, "Why don't you talk about this?" Or they'll make a comment that will sort of spark my bulb, and I'll say, "Okay," and I'll research that particular subject, and I'll go out and I'll make a video on the streets or by the river or in some place where, sure, a lot of the times they say, "Oh, your background is too loud, Gweilo, I can hardly hear you." But see, that's China. I'm trying to show them the real China, not the China that mainstream media portrays as, "Oh, it's bad, it's authoritarian, it's people can't do what they want." The idea that I go to Korean barbecues, or I go to barbecues on the roof with my friends. Housewarming party the other day. I just put that video up. Later on today, we're going down to a friend's place, and everybody's getting together for an afternoon barbecue. Social distancing is a thing of the past in friend circles here in Nanning. We haven't had a COVID-19 case in Guangxi province for about a month now, so people are feeling pretty confident about what's going on. So I'm back out on the streets. I'll do walk and talks. I'll just tell it exactly how I see it, and I do put a pro-China slant on it because I'm that type of person. I always see the good in things. I very seldom pay any attention to the bad stuff because, how's that song go? Don't bring me down. And I figured that with an attitude like that, my life will be happier, and the people that watch my videos will understand the real China, the one that I see.
Well, that's that. Thank you for that, Kurt, and I do appreciate that, and I look forward to coming to Nanning very soon. Thank you, Tim K, for the vote of confidence for Gweilo in 2020. One Crazy Nation.
I'm Canadian, not American.
You never know. And thank you.
We'll take you over soon enough. One at a time.
Thank you, One Crazy Nation. Dawn, Crystal, and Tony, good evening, morning from Edmonton, Alberta. Everybody, if you haven't done so already, just hit the big thumbs up box in the thing. What it does is it helps us get this message out, and it helps the good old YouTube algorithm. Just so you know, you're probably seeing us put up super chats from all different things. You're not probably seeing them in your channel. Why and how this is happening is we have 4 channels connected into one back-end software, and we can see what everyone is saying, but you on other chat forms might not be able to see who's on Matt's channel. Matt can't see who's on Gweilo's channel, but that's okay. And you know what? It's okay to throw us some hard-hitting questions, because we will get into the meat and potatoes a little bit later on this show as we go around and find out what everybody is up to in China. I am definitely not shy to stand up and take a few shots. So I'm going to go down to Alex Absolute. Alex Absolute, tell us where you are in China and what you're up to in the next week or two. 2 minutes, sir.
So I'm here in Wenzhou, China. If you don't know it, it's kind of 500 kilometers on the coast just below Shanghai. It's a pretty unique city. It grew up completely surrounded by mountains, so it was cut off from the rest of China. It's got one of the hardest dialects in China. So it's a pretty interesting city. There's a lot to see here, a lot to do. There was a lot for me to adjust to when I first got here because, as the saying goes, if you take a Wenjanese person to eat and there's no seafood, they just see an empty table. Whereas for me, I've always liked kind of some seafood, but not quite as intense as they do here. But yeah, my next couple of weeks is putting out some more videos. I've had a pretty busy week or two doing a few things, like family stuff, nothing really that anybody else needs to know about. But yeah, I've got some videos coming up with some, like a travel one that I actually shot, I guess, last year. Never got around to putting it out. I've got tons of videos which need to be put together. I've got some Hong Kong footage from the summer, which I might do something with. Got a nice little look at a pair of fake AirPod Pros that I bought. Spoiler, they're actually pretty good. And yeah, just a few nice things. I like, it's pretty similar to Gweilo. I like focusing on the good. I don't really go hard on the pro-China stuff because I'm not really a politics guy. I'm more of an editing guy. I like nicely edited stuff. I spend a lot of my time watching tutorials on how to use After Effects and do visual effects and stuff. I'm still learning. Like Gweilo, I kind of just all self-taught. That's the great thing about YouTube. It's like a continually turning circle. You learn from YouTube to put stuff back on YouTube. So yeah,
Well,
that's basically me in a nutshell.
Thank you for covering that, Alex. I'm going to now go on to Matt, and Matt is in Ningbo. And so, Alex, just before I leave you, how many years have you been in China?
Sorry, I've been in China for 7 years. I came here 2013, like September.
Okay, we're on to Matt. Go ahead, sir.
All right. I have learned that you learn the best by using your own eyes and ears and even mouth. And so, if you can immerse yourself in an environment, you can learn a lot about it. So, as far as being pro-China or anti-China, I am pro-experience. So, I started making videos here a number of years back. I climbed Everest in 2016. So, I had to train. I traveled all over China, Xinjiang. I'm climbing near Pakistan. I went to a hotel that the concierge and everybody had bulletproof vests on because of the violence in Xinjiang. I've been to the north. I've been to the south. On my weird bike, I cycled through some of the smallest and most out of the way parts of China, and I've seen village life and I've seen city life. So I think that what I would rather do than say I'm pro or negative China is just to say I share everything, and then you can decide for yourself. The interesting thing is that, like, my life very rarely conflicts with the politics, other than the fact of needing a VPN to upload this and being restricted from the speed of bandwidth that I would normally get in the States, and having those kind of frustrations. I find my life in China quite comfortable. So a lot of times I don't like to voice too much of the nitty-gritty opinions that I don't have a personal relationship with. And the things I do have a personal relationship with are pretty awesome here. China's life is one of my biggest videos. Is China is the safest. It's gotten me a lot of views and also a lot of arguments. China's the safest country on earth, because for me, it has been. It's been a very, very safe and comfortable country to live in. And I think a lot of expats and people that have lived here and seen with their own eyes and ears have seen the same. So
I 100% agree.
Okay, so just wondering how everyone's sound is. I'm getting guys, is my sound fine? I'm just
you're great. You're great.
Yeah, you sound good,
Matt. You were breaking up a little bit there, Matt.
No problem. If I mean to please do. Okay, no problem. So I'll stay at this safe distance. Thank you for covering all that, Matt. And that's interesting. The more I watch your videos, the more I learn. And there's quite a catalog out there, that is for certain, on your site. And it's going to take me the better part of the next quarter to get caught up on them, but I'm getting there. Just so if people don't know, on the panel here, I've been traveling to China since 2003, and just until recently, I was granted a 10-year visa from the Chinese government to come in and discover the country. So as soon as that was given to me, and I live in Southeast Asia, I decided to make China my number one target to really put some videos out on the internet. And what I do is, and thank you, Caliber Wings, for that. What I do is, when I go to a city, I go right into the city, right with the cameras, and I'm in, you name it, karaoke bars, cafes, churches. Yes, China does have churches. Yes, it does. And I also go to, check out the food scene. And one of my videos was I was in a graffiti street. Yes, Chinese are allowed to have graffiti. And then I also go and meet some vloggers. Yes, China does have a vlogging community too. And they do have their version of YouTube and Google. And frankly, I ask most Chinese, aren't you upset that the government has banned Google and YouTube and Facebook? And they say, we don't really care, because there's nothing really on there for us anyway. So that's my spiel. Now, just a little bit of an update for all the viewers of the panel, and thank you, everybody. We're well over 1,000 viewers now. I'm going to be in China for 90 days coming up here, in basing myself in Chongqing, and I've got quite an exciting project, and I will talk about that at the later end of the program. But let's get into some of these. We have something, Gweilo 60, a sentiment most of us agree with, looking at the good side of all things. That's the basis of kindness. Thank you for that. CK, good day and good morning, everyone. That's a super chat. And Rob, GTI 180, morning from Ireland. How can the West make China pay when this pandemic is over? Boycott all things made China, sanctions or war. Who wants that one?
I do.
Matt, take it.
Okay, so I mean, there are valid criticisms here, right? The idea that most of people's supply chains into China has really been exemplified in a moment like this. So when people need stuff quick, and maybe China is preoccupied with a pandemic, or maybe there are problems with logistics and stuff, I think that's a very valid thing. I think China, and I think maybe America, has become too reliant on production in China. But it's not like China is. I feel a little bit strange, because it's like China has went ahead and provided all of these products to America at bargain prices, and America bought. It's not like anything was done sort of other than maybe currency adjustments, but other than that, American businesses came here, set up businesses, and established things, and now they're finding out that maybe we need to do some more stuff in our home country, so that if there's something that goes on, we need stuff domestically, quickly, that we can do that. And so there might be a valid argument there, as opposed to all-out war or attacking China. Maybe there needs to be a readjustment of relationships. Maybe there needs to be some thoughtful negotiation between these two countries to try to maybe level some things out, so that if something like this happens in the future, people can be supplied with products easier and quicker from their own country. I think that that's not necessarily a bad thing. I don't even think that even trade wars aren't bad things. The problem is that a lot of things are done with such a shoot from the hip, scream out loud, and swift movements that it doesn't make a lot of sense. I believe slow and steady wins a race, and that's kind of what China has been doing for the past 30 years, is they've been moving fairly steadily on this plan, and slowly and steadily their plans have been coming to fruition, and now they've become this huge power. And I think that's sort of scary to some people out there, and I think that I don't think war is the answer, but I am very afraid of the current rhetoric and war being an eventuality. This is very similar to the anger that was seeded before, like World War I in Germany, and Germany was, it seems like they were feeling like the world was changing and they couldn't keep up, and their economy wasn't doing well, and so they blamed the Jews and they blamed all these other people. And I think that there's other countries that are kind of blaming China for this entire pandemic and all of the repercussions that happened because of it, and all the deaths that has come from it. And there's been more deaths, I think, based on the mismanagement of some of these countries than the actual birth of the virus. So I don't know. I think that we all need to have a little bit more of a level head about what exactly was wrong and what went wrong, and maybe readjust the relationship with China, which can be done in a sensible way. But it seems like sensible is not the order of the day right now, and I don't know where things might be going from here. Did you hear me on that, or was that all?
Yeah, no, that was very good. That was very good, and we'll come to you, Gweilo, in a moment here, and hold fire on that, sir. I know you're ready. Be careful. So just to explain to everyone that's watching this program, yes, this panel is inside China. I mean, it's not a bad name to us, China, and we are in the country, and we do spend a lot of time, giving people reports. Now, that's up to you, what you take away from this. Everyone that's watching today, you're entitled to go out, do research, come back to this channel, challenge this channel, say, like this person on the screen, the West is already relocating a lot of the supply chains to Southeast Asia, India, Mexico, Central America. Probably right. And that is a good point. The thing is that what I seem to struggle with is, I'm gonna call it the media that we're seeing right now, and as content creators and content, I guess you can call us providers in some sort. We try to give you guys and the audience a different perspective on what's going on in the world here, because you're gathering your information from your media outlets, and Western media, they do tell a fair amount of lies, like most, but maybe one day these lies will stop, and maybe, just maybe, they won't be able to lie about the progress of history here. And you cannot lie what's happened in the last 30 years in China. It has become an economic powerhouse. It has brought 850 million people out of poverty. Whether you want to believe that number or not, when my feet get to China, I see a different planet. And we're trying to engage our viewers. Gweilo.
Here we go.
Gwailo's muted at the moment, so we'll let him unmute that. Here we go.
Sorry about that.
Go ahead.
Some background noise here. You get these journalists in mainstream media in the United States and around the world, and they've got a political sort of a lean to them. Everything over the last year or two has been pretty negative on China. China's economy is this, or they're going to attack Taiwan, or all of these different things. It never there's never any of those human stories about how life is getting better in China, how the culture is this 5,000 years old. They don't talk about the Li River and the Karst Mountains of Guilin. They don't talk about how beautiful the South China Sea is in Beihai. They never talk about the Forbidden City and the Great Wall and all of the the spectacular things around China that we see on a daily basis. Of people going to work, kids going to ballet classes, and things like that. That is exactly the same in the West. Only it's here in China. They're oppressed. They have an authoritarian government, and they're oppressed, and they can't. You see, as a regular person on the street in China, we don't see that. And with a YouTube channel, we can influence the people that watch our channels. Maybe not in as large a way as what mainstream media does in the West, because they are frickin' huge, and millions of people watch it. But then again, you see, I did a video, and CGTN picked it up not too long ago, and they put it out on Weibo, and it got over 1 million views in the first day. So there is that potential to get to get our view and our influence out there and show maybe what China is really like, not what the mainstream media portrays it to be. And I think when you get journalists that have a political view, they're not reporting the news anymore. What they're doing is spouting propaganda, and they say China is a regime and it spouts propaganda. Well, maybe they should be looking at their own people also and saying, maybe we're doing the same thing. Maybe the United States and Great Britain and Canada and Australia and New Zealand are even better at it than what the Chinese people are. So being a YouTuber, I like to think that if we have enough YouTube channels like we have on this panel here, and maybe even more out there, with all of us little guys out there, maybe we can influence some of the people that watch and change minds and let them see what China is really like.
Well, I think if you're new coming into these channels, we're not a channel of hate. I'm sorry. If you want to come here and have us beating the drums on hate, you're in the wrong place. Warrior G-Man, thank you very much for your contribution. I'm from Calgary, Alberta. Say hello to my mother. Thank you guys so much. We were told COVID originated in bat soup, but then we were also told that you can't get COVID from food because it's cooked out. So if it's cooked out, how did the soup not cook it out? Very cool. The quantum, the quantum, it had... Oh, I lost that one. Here, I've got another one, Wesley, if I can put this one up before we get to that. But Francisco Riviera, thank you very much. There's a lot of propaganda going on in the United States to blame China. Reason for the government doesn't want to be responsible for shutting down late. Yes. I just wanted to put this up here for Elizabeth Paul. Am I wrong? A foreigner can't neutralize as a Chinese citizen, only have a visa. A foreigner can neutralize in America. Any explanation, guys?
Nationalized.
Naturalized.
You can't nationalize, but you can get a permanent residence.
Naturalized. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
But
I knew what it is.
I don't think there's really that many PR cards or permanent residence being handed out there, unless you're a brain surgeon or something like that. Something
Corey
that's really
Prime in China's got one.
Does he?
Yeah. I'm just about to apply for mine because I tick all the boxes. You have to be. It varies from like city to city or province to province. But here in Wenzhou, you need to have been married for 5 years. You need to have invested, like I think it's like 100 or 200,000. You just go to your bank account, put the 100 or 200,000 in the bank, and lock it in the bank for 12 months. Like get the certificate. You show your tax certificate. You show a non-criminal record check, which has to be. Like notarized from your country, and then it goes. They basically said it can go backwards and forwards a lot of times because they're quite fussy about it being exactly perfect. But eventually, there's a chance you might be able to. And if you've seen the news recently, there was a lot of controversy over them trying to make it even slightly easier again. So. Yeah, there's that.
Well, the interesting point that I want to also point out on this is that the country of Thailand, it's almost impossible to get a Thai passport. Even if you're married to a Thai, you have a foreigner that's married to a Thai woman that has 3 or 4 kids. Good luck. Even good luck getting a permanent residence. They only give 100 of them away a year. So it's almost this just isn't a China thing. This is a lot of countries. I know the country that my wife is from. For me to get a passport, it's 10 years. And for her to take my passport, she's got to give up her citizenship. So when you have a kid, what nationality is he? And hey, mom, why is dad in the other passport line? So it's a global problem. And, that's what we're facing with. So we're going to continue on with the panel here, and we'll get to you in a second here, Gweilo. You're energized today. I like it.
Well, I wanted to talk about the resident permit.
Please do. Okay, go ahead, sir.
The permanent resident permit is a good thing, yeah, because you're basically there. You've got all of the rights as a Chinese citizen, but there's that resident permit, and they say temporary resident, but it's not. It's a resident permit also that you can get anywhere from 2 to 5 years now, and it's pretty easy to get if you have ties to the country. Wei Fong and I have been on resident permits probably half of our time in China. We're on a visa right now, but the idea that we have an elderly, her father, and he's alone. If we left China, then he would be left alone. That's enough for the Chinese government to issue a resident permit, which means you have to do it medically. You fill out your forms, you pay, I think it's 800 RMB, and bingo, bango, bongo, it's done. So it's not as difficult as people think it is. If you're married to a Chinese woman, Chinese national, you would have the same thing. You can go for a resident permit, and it's a 5-year thing, and once every 5 years, you just have to renew it. Medical, 800 RMB, maybe it'll go up by that time, but it's not that difficult to get these things like other people think it is.
Go, thank you for that, Gweilo. And you want
the children?
Yeah, please do.
Like, with regards to children, I don't know about you, Matt, but I registered. I've got 2 sons now, a 3-year-old and a 5-month-old. He's just super new, super fresh. But they are both registered as Chinese citizens because, you can change it up until they're 18. They can decide they can change. And I don't know about you back in the States, Matt, but as English citizens, if you have one of your parents who is a UK resident, they can have something called a right of abode put in their Chinese passport, and it means that they can be visa-free travel to UK. Not sure about Europe, but they can travel without a visa. They
Wonderful.
can buy property. They can go to school. They can be essentially a UK resident without needing a UK passport. So it's kind of a best of the both worlds.
So, Alex, I want to keep you in focus here because I want to ask you a couple of questions now that I've got you, Alex to Alex here. I'm going to fire off some questions to you. Just this is the kind of stuff that I've been getting hit with all week. So, are you afraid to be in China?
No, never.
Are you afraid that you had kids in China that they're Chinese citizens?
No, I'm happy
Okay.
that I've got
Next.
Chinese citizenship.
Can they go play in the playground? Can they go on social media? Can they do everything that a normal person from the West can do?
They're not old enough to go on social media.
Okay,
yet, they
but
can go to- they can
in
go
the
to
future?
playground, yeah, sure.
Okay, and when they get older, they can go to art school and they can go to ballet and they can do all these wonderful things that a lot of people don't believe is possible in China. Or do they have? I agree. Do they have access to Macau? Can they go to Macau?
Yes.
So wow, Macau is the size of Las Vegas. So here we go. Chinese people can actually go to a Las Vegas. That's amazing, isn't it? So isn't that quite amazing? So I just wanted to kind of, this is the kind of stuff that I get all week from people that just spews out like, everybody, they're locked in their house. They can't go out. They have no freedom to go anywhere. There's a couple people in my chat forum that I'm really happy that they came in today because, Wesley, can you find Aircraft Sparky's comment? And I want either Gweilo or Matt to address this one. It's in my feed there. And Frank, if you're watching the show today, I'd love to have any questions from you for the panel. And while we're looking for that, just want to say a big thanks out to everybody. We're over 1,400 people on the feed. And I'm Alex from Reporterfy. That's Gweilo 60, Matt from JaYoe Nation. Did I get that right? And Alex Absolute. Hit the subscribe button to our channel so you don't lose us. And who wants to answer that question on the panel here?
I'll take the first part about it. Africans being discriminated against. I think you're looking basically in Guangdong province. There was two different videos that were released by social media, of course. One where an African guy was in a daycare attempting to rape the lady that worked there. Another one was, and I don't think it was a report, it wasn't a video, where an African guy, I think he's Nigerian, came off an airplane. He was COVID-19 positive. He went to the hospital and tried to get out of the hospital, pushed the nurse down, bit her, and stuff. So I think that's where this started.
Beat her up pretty bad.
Yeah, exactly. But now you've got a number of Africa, because a lot of countries in Africa are really rough places, and you get a number of Africans coming over as students, and their visa runs out. They speak good English. They get into teaching English. Their visas have run out, so they're in the country illegally. They were living in apartments. Now it's illegal to well, it was illegal before, but it's come into the limelight that these people are living in the country illegally, and to go get a COVID-19 test, you have to be in the country legally. You have to be able to show your passport, your visa stamps, and all of those other things. So they're not going to go get their test done. If they don't have those tests, the landlords aren't allowed to rent. The hotels aren't allowed to rent to them, and then they get booted out on the street. And then it's the government's fault that this is happening, not because they're illegal in the country, is because they're being discriminated against. Sure, there are businessmen that I've seen and talked to that actually had conversations with that are being caught in this sort of net too, and they're scrutinized a lot more lately than they would have been in the past. And yes, the white guys aren't being scrutinized. It's the black guys that are being scrutinized. And, it's one of those things that goes back to what Alex was saying before. It's the fear on the streets. It's, the idea that they don't really know what's going on. and it's hard for your local authorities to grasp all of this, and I think that's what's happening here. You've got the illegals, you've got some bad apples there. You've got people that are in the country illegally that are yelling discrimination, and then you've got people that are in the country and doing business and supposed to be here that are getting caught in that net. So
Gweilo, I want to come over to Matt on this, and I just want to add a point. Maybe if Matt, you're going in this direction, but since this COVID came out, the Chinese have moved up on the QR code. You have to have, I'm not sure if it's an amber, red, green. Is that correct, gentlemen? It's a red, yellow, green. Okay, and so if for the audience that isn't aware of this, and this has probably never been explained to any of the audience out here, but there's an example there. Alex is showing it. China has really taken technology to the forefront on combating this. It's not just building hospitals in 8 days, but it's also notifying people, who is infected in that area, what places to stay away from. And it's very crucial now to have a phone with a QR code to get in access to a lot of places. And what happens is some of these, we'll call it people that overstay their visas or have come, they just rip up their passport and they become, it's impossible to remove them. It's also a problem that happens in the United Kingdom, the same thing. If you want to stay in the UK and not get kicked out, you go there and you throw your passport in the bin and they can't get you out of the country. So
places need the QR code. The apartment complex that I'm in, the one you see behind me, you don't need the QR code to enter, but Starbucks is, you do. Not only QR code, but you got to get your temperature taken, because a QR code is useless if it's not reinforced with an active temperature taking system. So like if you go to Starbucks, you add a green code and then they measure you and you get a temperature, you're not going to have that green code for long because they're going to call somebody to come and check you out. So
that's exactly it.
Wesley, can you bring up Daniel Wilcox's quote so the panel can address it? Warrior G-Man, how is the healthcare in China? I'm going to get Gweilo to answer that in a minute. We're just going to bring up another quote since we're getting some spew on our channels. Here we are. Gentlemen, if you guys could read that and let me know what you think about it. Since we're in China, so...
Yeah.
Well, real quick, the McDonald's story, just to let you know, it wasn't all McDonald's. It was just one McDonald's. And then McDonald's apologized for it and pulled it down. So it's not like it was promoted by corporate McDonald's in China. It was sort of a one-off from what I understand.
So, Alex and Gweilo, can you read that quote that's on the screen there? It says, from Daniel Wilcox, thank you for putting that question to the panel. And just to let everybody know, we're over 1,500 viewers now on the feed. If Wesley...
outdated information? Where do you get this outdated information? I'm sitting in Nanning, China. Alex is in China, and Matt is in China. Outdated information. I walk out my front door, and I'm getting the information that's here right now. So, like, if you're talking outdated information, you're sitting someplace in the southeastern United States, sucking on a Budweiser or a Coors Banquet. Maybe the information that you've got is outdated. Where does this outdated information come from? You're talking with people that live here, that have investments here, that have family here. We know what's going on because we are here in China. And racism? Nah, I don't see it.
Looks like, Matt, you're ready to go. Go for it, Matt.
Yeah, I think you also have to understand the numbers. I mean, we're talking about over 1 billion people. And so the percentage of people that do it, I don't necessarily agree 100% with what Kirk said. I think that there is racism, just because racism is everywhere, and there's a percentage of people that are going to hate other people. And when you have this many people and social media, it's kind of a funny side story. My parents started to become really paranoid about how the world was going, and I caught them once saying, like, "It's never been so bad. The world is crazy. We want to remove all our money from the banks and bury it in the backyard." And they were getting very conspiratorial. And I said, back in the day, if something like somebody's head got cut off by some terrorists in the Middle East, you would see it in the back section of the newspaper. You'd close up the newspaper, you'd put it next to the TV, you might see it on the nightly news at 6 p.m., and then it was over. But today, everything gets inflated, everything gets promoted, and if it bleeds, it leads. So if it's negative, if it's that picture of the notice in McDonald's or the no foreigners allowed sign, you only need a couple of those, and then all of a sudden it gets inundated into the whole world. I mean, it's at your water cooler at your work, it's sitting in front of you on the computer, it's on your phone, it's on the TV, it's everywhere. And so, I don't know, a little bad goes a long way these days.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I think all four of us haven't been, I don't know, I personally haven't been, had even a sidelong glance against me since this whole thing started. But I'm sure that there's other people out there that have, and I'm sure that sucks, but I don't think it's as prevalent as it's being promoted.
So that's it for me. I think there tends to be bad on both sides of the fence. No, there's no perfect. Like it's not like any country or any group of people is 100% perfect. You always have bad eggs in a bunch, but they don't represent everybody. Like you can cherry pick like one or two people from here and there, but that doesn't represent all of, like, if you like Matt said, Matt pretty much took the words right out of my mouth. There is a huge amount of people in the that's so cool. But yeah, there's a huge amount of people, and to cherry pick just one or two things and then tar everybody with one brush is just a ridiculous idea. That's it's
like you know, Alex, you know, and you know, I basically you know, skip across from Thailand to China, back to Thailand to China, and you know, this year it's going to be a hell of a lot more in China, that's for certain. But I wanted to show you something that I was greeted in one of my stores here in Bangkok the other day. Let's have a look.
No, foreigner, no entry. That's not even dressing it up. It's just straight out there. Let's say foreigner, no entry. And
so
I think they were talking about Ponty. Michaela Ponty. You guys go check his channel.
Just guys, so you know, these are we got a lot of activity coming here. We do appreciate your guys' super chat contributions, and we do address them all. And I think everyone on this channel, we interact a lot. If you can't get your questions out today, come on our videos and leave some interactions. I know my wife got the spreadsheet out today, and I answered 1,400 comments in the last 7 days on YouTube. So that just shows you the time and energy that we put into this. We're going to swing over to, I think, another topic that I think you had in mind to bring up tonight, Gweilo. Do you want to share something?
Well, I refresh my memory.
Okay, well, China's back open.
I'll reply to a few people in my comments section, maybe.
Yes, go for it, Alex.
Because there's a few people like Straya Guy. Shout out to Straya Guy. If you guys don't know him, you should go check out his channel. He's starting out YouTuber. He said, I think maybe Alex is throwing around hundreds of thousands of dollars on property, but only tens of dollars on Baijiu. And you're 100% correct there, my friend. There is nothing better than the farm Baijiu. That's probably my favorite. If you guys didn't know, I'm kind of a Baijiu connoisseur. I love good Baijiu.
Yeah.
Why?
I just love it. Baijiu now. Somebody offered me vodka the other day, and I said no thanks. I think I'll just rather have the Baijiu. It's just kind of a thing now. I just
I'll
love Baijiu.
siphon gasoline out of a bus before I drink Baijiu.
Art Lawson, thank you for your contribution. I think this is going to go out to you, Matt. What would stop someone from sharing a phone with a green code, loaning a phone to your friend with no passport?
Jeez, I don't know. I think that it's
constantly
kind of
updates.
Yeah. There's all sorts of new regulations all the time. But if you were caught faking something that was for public health, I don't know. If they caught you doing it, you'd be in. Deportation would probably be the least of your worries.
I think you'd go to jail.
No Dumbrell equals less USA bashing hip hip parade. Thank you for that. I also want to put this one out for you, Gweilo. You got a fan here, Phil Brownell. What is it like to sell your souls to stay in China because you failed in the West, Gweilo?
There's a lot of Phils out there, Gweilo. There's a lot of Phils.
I ran a number of companies in the West, and I was actually very successful. When I was 53 years old and Wei Fang was 43 years old, we pulled the plug and we retired. When we retired, we said, well, where do we want to retire to? We've been going back and forth to China at that time for, I don't know, about 11 years. And we decided that China was the place that we felt more comfortable. We felt freer. We had a better life. We had a more active life. So I don't know, selling my soul to China.
Actually, it says souls, plural.
Souls.
Okay, well, I have more than one because I've been reincarnated many times. But see, the thing is that I think I probably did sell my soul to China just for the fact that I love it here rather than the boring 40 below weather in Canada where it's cold. And, you go in and you've got a bottle. Well, you can't even buy Baijiu there. But your booze is expensive. You go out for supper, it's $100, and then you got to give a 15% tip. It's just, if you had a year to spend in any country, I would tell you, Phil, you should come to China. You should spend a year. Come to Nanning, spend a year, and I bet you would change your mind, and your soul would be sold to China too, because it's such a nice place to live.
Yeah, but that's a rough thing because sometimes you get people that come to China with a preconceived notion, and if you hang out I think all of us have seen that a foreign teacher who came to China and just hates it because he exists in his bubble and he just confirmation bias and he's just like, oh, this place sucks. Oh,
we had
sucks,
we had a teacher here that we see a lot of them recently. In the last 2 years, I've seen a lot of teachers that come here and they approach China with a very Western mind. Like Wenzhou, for example, it's not like Shanghai. Shanghai has, I think, a quarter of all of the foreigners in China are in Shanghai. So it's very, very international and people are very, very used to seeing foreigners. Whereas Wenzhou, the foreigners are much smaller. So you get a lot of stares. You get people like, oh, look, the foreigner. And they'll be like, whoa. So a girl was followed by someone taking he just kind of I think he must have done a few steps behind her to try and take a picture, and she was like, oh, I felt like I was going to be raped, and I felt really in danger. And it's like, you've come to somewhere where they rarely see foreigners and you're surprised that people are doing it's stop applying
I love that.
But I went to Bobai in 2005. I was the first foreigner in Bobai. The first foreigner ever, and the old guys, the guys that are 75, 85 years old, they were sitting down saying, we've never seen a foreigner before. Because they've never been off the farm, these guys.
I love that. Don't you love that?
I drove a motorcycle into town. I was smoking back then, so I went in to grab a pack of cigarettes by myself. And I just got, swarmed by the whole village. It was like, holy smokes, it took me 15 minutes to just get through the crowd to get back on a motorcycle to get out of town type thing. I
got pinned to the wall by a crowd of students all holding pieces of paper asking me just to sign my name. A pencil, just sign my name. Also, by the way, John S. Hello to John S. He's in my comments section. I forgot to reply to you last time. I was terrible last time in my comments, but shout out to John S. He's a good guy.
Matt, you got somebody in your group that you want to say shout out to while we're doing it?
Everybody's so lovely at the JaYoe Nation, even the ones that are getting blocked. You guys don't need to block any of my comments. You let them go, unless they're just really, really ringing me out. But it's okay. I'm half looking over there.
Same with the moderators in my group. I don't mind you guys throwing up some good ones that we can rock and roll today. Okay, so... Wow, sun is shining today. Wow. Okay, so now we're going to continue on into some other things that I would like to address. Wuhan restated numbers. What's going on with that?
It went up by 50%, right?
And the explanation for that, I've read two types of articles. Just so you guys know, I've read two types of articles on this.
When you're in a crisis like Wuhan was, I don't think that the numbers are as important as helping the people. So after it's all said and done, they sat down, they crunched the numbers, said, well, we're wrong on the numbers, and they're big enough to put it out there and say, we were wrong on the numbers, these are the revised numbers, and it's as simple as that.
It's prioritizing things, isn't it?
Is it? Yeah.
Just to let you guys know,
Can I do a quick segue? I'm sorry.
Please, yeah, please do, Matt, please.
Somebody made a comment about that green code. The green code is not like something that sits on your phone forever and you show it. You literally have to scan a QR code in order for the code to turn green or whatever. So that is a security feature. Like if you lend somebody your phone, that phone would have to be unlocked and open and ready to scan the code. So it's not like you just get a code and you show it every time. It's not like a slip of paper.
No. Here it's different to that. Here, I just open up my Alipay, press health code, and then it does the loading thing, and there's the health code.
In Zhejiang, you have to scan it.
I guess essentially you could, because to get the green health code, you just answer questions, and it's based on you answering the right thing. And you can go back and change it, because one of my friends doesn't read Chinese, and he thought he was just all the left column was the good answer and all the right column was the bad answer, and he's like, holy crap, it's all red. He says red, and then he realized he just answered yes instead of no.
Do you have COVID-19? Yeah, of course I do.
So
being in contact with all these people, sure.
So a couple of things that I want to address here. Cobra Jones asked, China's GDP shrunk today really bad. Yes, because that is, on data that has just gone through. When you shut down the second largest economy in the world, that's going to happen. Brian has a question. What's your thoughts on the 2 Canadians in prison for no reason other than payback for holding a lady from Huawei in Canada for no reason that the U.S. wanted on an extradition treaty that is I would say is in the it's going to be hard, because we're talking about Huawei's CEO, or is it what's the lady? It's the daughter.
I'm not really sure
about the chief financial officer.
She might be the CFO or COO or CEO. Anyway, but her position. I just want to go through this with Brian here. So we have a Chinese lady that flew into Canada, held on a U.S. warrant. She hasn't been tried, but now she's held under house arrest in a sovereign country of Canada to be extradited to another country. So that would be the same as Tim Cook flying over. Yes, Huawei's a monster company, just like Apple. That would be like Tim Cook flying over on his way to, I don't know, Thailand, and he stopped in Vietnam, and they decided to, there is a warrant for Tim, what's the guy's Apple's name? Tim Cook? Tim Apple. And and so what, Vietnam would just hold him at his own expense? I mean, so guys, does anybody know about the 2 Canadians that are imprisoned in China? Do we know anything about that?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I
no idea.
It's sort of like that black hole where nobody talks about it. The 2 Michaels that were detained in China for supposed espionage.
Yes, I remember that story.
Without any information, how can we comment on something like that? We don't know what the
so Brian, we would like to answer that question, and what I'll do is if you could put a link or something to that story in our community boxes, one of our channels, we would like to follow it up. If you want an answer to that, we'll do whatever we can. Just so the audience does know that we do have a lot of Asian people, and Chinese join our channel, and just wanted to let you guys know that we do have a WeChat link that you guys asked for. So for all our other viewers, when something crazy comes on the screen showing Gweilo's picture and it looks like a big spider web, that's just the that's just the WeChat thing.
What a gorgeous man that is.
And there's also a link in our descriptions on the contributions from there.
You think I'd have more women loving my channel after looking at that?
Gweilo, how many years ago was that picture taken?
Oh, shut up.
Okay.
Actually, that was only I think about 5-6 months ago.
So I have another question. China waited 6 weeks to report human. What was it? Here we go. Human to human transmission on the Wuhan flu. Any updates on that, guys? Anybody want to comment on that?
6 weeks.
Well,
I think it was only 6 days, wasn't it? Actually, no, it was 3 days before they. Before, see, what happens when you find something like this new novel coronavirus, it takes a while to isolate it and figure out what it is. 3 days after they isolated it, they got a hold of the WHO and told them what was going on. Unlike the United States back in 2009, when after they isolated the H1N1, it took them 3 weeks to get a hold of the WHO. So when you're saying that China wasn't up to the task, or they didn't do it quickly enough, on what scale? What reference are you using for that? Are you using the H1N1 that the United States did in 2009? If you're using that as a base, they did it a lot quicker than what the United States did within 3 days.
Yeah, I think it took a little while.
Something interesting I found. Oh, sorry. You go, Matt.
Go ahead, Alex. Go ahead.
Something interesting I found out. It's not directly related to WHO and this kind of thing, because I do prepare for these shows. I go online and have a look around, and I found out something interesting. It's, like I said, it's kind of not directly about the WHO, but this is to do with China. Everybody's got all these bad things to say about China, but it seems, and a lot of people don't know, that when there was the economy crash, the big economy crash in 2008, China was one of the people that basically saved the world they pumped 590 billion into the economy to raise everything back up. I think alongside maybe America and UK, but there has been a lot of stuff which has been forgotten about China, helping massively. And there's all sorts of talk now about, will China be able to do it again because of the debt they got in last time? I found that I was quite shocked. I didn't know that. I just thought it was an interesting thing to share.
Let's go back to the main panel there, Wesley, if you can help us out, just on the screen. Yes, so I'm just looking at, so Brian, I just did pull up that story about the Canadians. I'm going to read that from top to bottom. It's in McCain magazine there. It's a Canadian publication. They are being held on alleged spy charges. But no, let's look through that in detail. I'm sure that there's a lot more Canadians held in other jail cells around the world that we can focus on too. That is for certain.
Canadians do no wrong. Everybody knows that. And if you read in the Plains magazine, you know it's going to be politically skewed one way. It's their stick.
And they like this story, so it's all good.
So Matt, you've just moved into a brand new apartment. Can you tell us how that's going, and what's going on in the area and things like that?
I'm in a, it's funny. It's kind of, I was actually thinking about making a video that was not necessarily debunking, but explaining all of the criticisms of China. There's a lot of criticisms about China recently that a lot of them are really overblown. And one of them, I'll tie this in. One of them was talking about how China must have known and set up this virus because they were able to build those hospitals so quickly. There's no other way any other country would have been able to have the manpower, the materials, and the infrastructure in order to build these hospitals so quickly under these conditions. And it ties in with my apartment.
Just tents?
Huh?
I think the hospitals were very much just like tents, weren't they? If you saw the footage of them, they were basically like marquees. It's like,
you know what
how
they
hard
were?
is that up?
They were like the worker complexes that are set outside of these building complexes. Like when they're building these apartments, they're the prefab roofs and wall systems for these buildings. And this whole complex was built like, I think 2 years ago. And this area, like the entire area, if you look around, like this area, even way back there, that's my daughter's school. That's why we were here. But Like if you look around,
that's very Chinese of you.
yeah, as far as you can see, this whole area was basically farmland just a few years ago. So China is growing like huge amount. As a matter of fact, I was thinking if you sit in my apartment today and you were to just sit down, you wouldn't know you were outside of the United States, let alone in China.
I live in a very similar place to you, Matt. My house is, I guess, 3 years old now. So I bought a brand new place, and I bought it primarily because it is being like where I am is also the same as where you used to be, like where you are now. Sorry, like it's just being developed very fast, but also with the kicker the opposite. There is this massive wetland, and it's been turned into a park and not actually being. There's going to be no residential, no buildings there, which is absolutely fantastic. But one question, Matt: when you bought your house, did you have to do the whole like when I bought my house? To get a chance to buy the house, because there's so many people to keep it fair, they organize you all into like a football stadium, and they draw numbers. And if your number comes up, then you get to go through and choose which house you want to buy if it's still left there. And it was an absolutely amazing sight to see, because people, as soon as their number came up, they were just elbowing people out the way, vaulting fences. It was crazy town. It was like the most hilarious thing to see ever. It was brilliant.
Did you vlog
have
it?
to do that?
Did you vlog it?
No, I wasn't vlogging at that time.
That would have been great.
When I bought my house, it was that was part of the deal of getting married here. Like I had to have a meeting with my wife's dad, Joe, and he said he kind of laid out what was expected and to buy a house. So they build the houses after they sell them, which is strange. It's like the opposite of in England. But yeah, I wasn't vlogging at that time.
No, I didn't have that. I didn't have that.
Just to kind of take a little bit of a turn here in the chat, guys, I want to throw some questions out to you.
Right.
We'll start with Matt. Matt, I mean, for the viewers, if you're taking your family out for dinner, what kind of restaurant would you go to in your town there, your city?
Well,
sorry, of Ningbo.
One of my favorite places to go in China is Haidilao. Haidilao is it's like a hot pot
Agreed.
chain.
Hot pot, Korean barbecue hot pot.
It's just a hot pot chain. It's just a very famous.
Yeah, and hot pot in China is amazing. Yeah, and they have these noodle dancers that will like string like noodle, and they'll do all sorts of dances with it, and in front of your table, and you get all sorts of sauces. I normally eat about 2 cups of chopped garlic by the time, because you have the sauce, and I just load it up with garlic.
Same.
Incredible. Like it's the worst place to go if you want to breathe on anybody, So good for COVID-19. So it'll keep me from breathing on people.
We're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to Gweilo, but thank you, MWLI1984, for your super sticker. Thank you very much for that. Gweilo, come on, tell us where you like to go, where you take Wei Feng out for a dinner, or who loves to invite you in Nanning, because you're such a star.
Well, you know it, man. Okay. Well, I go to lots of, we go out and eat so often. It's like we very seldom eat at home. We've got a Chongqing chicken sort of hot pot just around the corner here. We go to Brazilian barbecues. We hit Korean barbecues, hot pots. We Guangxi traditional food restaurants, to soup places, to dim sum in the mornings, to you name it. We sort of bounce around, and I've done a lot of videos about the restaurants that we go to. And I sort of get a kick out of it, because I make a video about it. I put it on YouTube, and then the advertising dollars that I make off YouTube more than pays for the meals. So when we go out to eat, it's sort of like going out free eating. I love that. And it's all the beer you can drink a lot of times too, like the Brazilian barbecue. It's like God lives at the Brazilian barbecue in Nanning, China. Seriously. And we went there the other day with Daniel. He's doing a documentary on Gweilo 60 from Nanning TV. We've been running around for about a week together here. And so I said, well, let's go to the Brazilian barbecue, my treat type thing. Went down there, it was closed. I was so depressed. But we found out that a couple days ago it opened up again. So thank God for that, my Jesus. It was all the wine you could drink and all the meat you could eat and the sushi and the barbecue duck and the salads and the fruits and you
Oh
name it
boy.
for 20
Oh
bucks.
boy. Thank you for that long-winded. This one's for you, Matt. Karen Chen, maybe give her a thumbs up for that. Thank you very much,
Hiya,
Karen. Alex Absolute, tell me where you go out for dinner and eat.
For me, it's all about hot pot as well. I do like Heidi Lao. I like Heidi Lao here because it stays open like almost 24 hours a day.
24 hours.
Being out to a bar, it's in a shopping center, so you have to go weirdly like in a side door and up some stairs. You feel like you're breaking in, and you can go in there and drink as much. But better than Heidi Lao, I like Sichuan hot pot styles, or the other one which is very similar, Chan Chan. It's basically hot pot but on sticks. Got introduced to that when I went to Chengdu, and it's just amazing. I love that. I also like the Korean barbecues. There's a lot of good stuff, but for me, it's spicy food, steaks. I like Kirk Brazilian barbecue. We have a fantastic one here, and it's like I think it's like 150 kwai, and you can just continually eat, and they pretty much just come round. You have this little like a placemat, and it's red on one side and green on the other, and then you just like, even when it's on red, they're like, are you sure you'd want some of this meat? And it's just so delicious that my meat salad balance is kind of like this. I just eat meat, and if you know me, that's 100% ideal for me.
So
in China they have a word, hot, 2 words for hot, right? You have la, which is like your spicy food, and then you have ma, which is your peppercorn spicy food. So ma will give you the numbing one.
They gotta numb your mouth so you can handle the heat. Seriously,
so just gentlemen, I want to address a couple of super chats that came in for Matt there from 12 Mass. Thank you very much. They say, Matt, keep it up for hope and for peace. So, gentlemen, you guys know that there's Starbucks, there's McDonald's, everything you want in the West, it's available in China. But you know me. Let's see how well you guys know me. If I'm going to go out for a drink somewhere in China, what am I going to do, Gweilo?
Well, it depends on where you are. There's lots of different places to go out, and if you want to food and to drink, you just pick a place where it's all you can eat, all you can drink. That's what I do.
And if you're traveling with me in China, where am I going to be taking you?
Same thing.
No, where would I take me? Where would I? Let's see how well you know me. Where would I be taking you?
My guess is fancy wine place.
Probably the Majestic, a 5-star hotel, because you've got you
Spearmint Rhino.
My viewers are going to kick your butt, Gweilo. My viewers are going to kick your butt. I am going to.
I was at your place for 6 weeks. You never cracked a bottle of wine once.
Because I was on medication. Anyway, I'm going to KTV, guys. That's where I'm going. Big. Yeah. Is that what it's called, Matt? Is that what it is?
Vegas strip club is called.
Oh, geez. I had the best deal. It's in one of my videos. I did 12 bottles of beer, two side orders. One, they always give you fruit dishes in China, and 3 hours of karaoke, $50 on a Friday night. Come on. I know. It's like heaven.
Everything here is cheap, and people can't wrap their heads around. But you see, in China, you can go as expensive as you want, or as inexpensive as you want. It all depends, and I don't see a lot of difference, except for maybe things are a little bit more sparklier in the expensive places, and
how pretty the girls are.
Well, and how pretty the girls are, but you see, there's. To go into a mall like the Mixi Mall in the east side of Nanning City, and walking through the parking lot, it's not uncommon to see like 3 Lamborghinis, a Porsche, and 2 Bentleys sitting there in the parking lot. It's one of those things. So there's so much money in China. So there is that place for the expensive. You go to a seafood place, all you can eat seafood place, and it's about 500 RMB a head. It's
500 RMB, Gweilo. How much is that for the viewers that don't know?
$100 Canadian.
Okay.
So it's a little bit more expensive, but it's it's worth it. You know, it's just like anything else. You know, every once in a while you want to splurge. You hit some places where you want, a 16-ounce rib steak barbecued to perfection with a baked potato, sour cream, chives, and you know what I mean? Or in the Chinese term, that's where these restaurants come in because people are looking for that particular thing and they're willing to pay for it.
Wesley, where did this one come in from, just so I can address it?
No, Tim Pool one. Tim Pool
Yes.
fake news.
Yes, this came in through, I think it's probably Matt's channel, but I'm going to read it. And Matt, you can take this one. Obviously, this person wanted to put this one up with the size of the contribution. Thank you very much, Matt. Really appreciates that.
Thank you very much.
Tim Pool has fake news about China, but more than 10,000 people watched his live broadcast. However, you guys have the truth about China, but only have such a small audience. And also anti-China in the chat bar. Nice W Media, BTW, Matt. JaYoe.
Let's see. Tim
Who's
Pool.
Tim Pool?
Who's Tim Pool?
You don't know who Tim Pool is?
I love it. Anyway, just so whoever donated that, there's a guy named Nathan Rich that just tore Tim Pool. I don't have the swear jar with me,
Okay, that's
but
the guy. Okay,
he
I know.
did that. And it's interesting that we're bringing this up during this program. Is I have some integrity here, and I'm not about to sit in front of, our audience is 1,600. I think that's pretty good for four guys and on their laptops on a Saturday morning. That's pretty damn good. We're not a channel of spewing out stuff. We've been pretty fair and balanced on what we've done in this program. We've brought out the haters. We put the questions up there, or not. I don't want to say the word haters, but we'll put up the people that don't quite agree on everything, and we're cool with that. That's what keeps us on our feet and challenging. Also, all four of these channels are about different topics, about living in China. We do a little bit of politics here and there. I have never heard so much, other types of media channels have an opinion on China when their feet have never been on Chinese soil.
Opinion. Yeah.
And that is what when people say to me, it's shocking because I was on, just to let you guys know, I was on another show, I guess a live stream about 3 or 4 months ago, and they didn't mind me talking about China until the Wuhan episode, and it was quite remarkable because I was quite open about what I was doing in China and in Chongqing and spending time with the Chongqing media and going around the city doing things. And I shared all my stories, and then out of nowhere, everyone says, "Oh, but you don't know what you're talking about." And I'm saying, "What do you mean?" "Well, you don't know what you're talking about." I've been to China. I've been going there for 17 years. "Yeah, but I saw this video up on, Facebook, and it said that this was there." And I mean, maybe guys to the panel, maybe people just don't want to be. What do you?
People just like to be right, don't they? It's very much this social justice environment that there is now. When the virus first hit and I started making videos about it, I had people on both Reddit. There's a Reddit forum, Reddit / Wuhan virus or coronavirus or something. And then now people were so dismayed by the fact it was so heavily biased and one side of it was being cut, that they made a new one called something like Wuhan virus, the real truth or something. But there were people on that were literally telling me, "You don't know what you're talking about, Alex. It doesn't matter that you live in China. You're obviously got your head dug down in there. And I, this person in America watching the sensationalized news, I know better than you, and I'm going to tell you what it's like." And it's like, come on, like, who does that?
Just a couple of super chats. I want to say thanks to
okay.
Beer Pan. Thank you very much for that. Go ahead, Matt.
No, I mean, ... Really, JaYoe to you too, and thank you for that super chat. I think that I want to respond a little bit because I kind of glossed over. He said that there's 10,000 people watching that guy's live stream or broadcast. The only way we can grow is if you share. So if you like this conversation and you think that this is valid, then then share it on your social media platform.
Yeah,
Deliver it to other
please go
people.
and
so
watch
that they
all of
can-
my videos.
Yeah, there's the
Yeah.
share button just down below there, guys, where you see we're down by our thumbs up and thumbs down. There's that little share button. Just click that button and pop it out to your entire network. And
Yeah. Not
Currently,
only
I'm the only
that,
guy who
but,
isn't
you know, subscribe
monetized.
subscribe to
So I
each
can't
of the
have
channels,
super chats.
because as we get a bigger footprint on YouTube, it makes a big difference. More people watch, more people can share. So hit that subscribe button. It's important for smaller YouTube channels like ours.
And we do appreciate that. I mean, some of my subscribers are on Matt's, some of Matt's are on Gweilo, some are Gweilo's back on Alex's. I mean, I'm Alex from Reporterfy. That guy down there is Alex Absolute. He's got some pretty cool stuff. Another thing that I wanted to bring up today, and then we're going to switch around to another topic, is I want to know from you guys here, my channel in the last couple of weeks has really started to pick up with a lot of, and thank you in part to Gweilo, Alex, and Matt. Thank you very much. Some of your subscribers have come over to my channel, and I really, really appreciate that. But what I've, really found, my wife came out and said to me one day, and she likes to watch, or I'll call it moderate, the feedback that we get in the comment section. And she said to me, these people really need you right now. These people that are in China, the messages, the heartwarming comments that are coming on my videos, some of the stuff that's going on in these people's lives, and I'm talking to everyone around the world, but I just wanted to, first of all, talk about, my Chinese viewers, is that some of them are deeply, deeply, deeply hurt about what's going on and what is being said about their country. And I understand that we're in a very difficult time, and I just want everyone in my page to just help each other out. There are people, in Canada that are having a real tough time. There are people in the United States that are having a very difficult time. In Europe, I mean, we're in a really difficult time right now, and I think if everybody can just pull together, and I'm starting to see that now, the good of people. And, about a week ago, it was getting a bit rough there. But, I want to ask the panel, and then I'll hand it over to you guys. How are we going to...
Just to interrupt a second, there's a couple of people in my chat saying, Alex, your wife was right. We need you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. No, it's... Some of these messages, I've just sat up at night and, I respond to them as much as I can. And I have a lot of great, subscribers from all over the world, and even some great subscribers in Europe and in the West countries that are really leaving some great comments. So thank you for, the world pulling together. And that's what this whole program was about today, YouTubers in China's future. We know very clearly, everyone on this panel knows that China is going to get obliterated on the Western media's newspapers and news over the next 6 months. So I feel that we have a consortium of people here that can give some hope. I'm going to go to Gweilo, and you're actually the man that named the title for this feed that we're having today.
Well, and the reason for that, Alex, is I see all of this bad press that China's getting, and China's a big tourist country. The Middle Kingdom, everybody comes to China to see, like, the Forbidden City, the Great Wall of China, the Kars Mountains, the South China Sea, the fields, the water buffaloes working in the fields, the rice paddies, all of the different, because it's so different than basically anywhere else in the world. Sure, you can see the rice paddies and stuff in Vietnam and Cambodia and places like that, but it's not to the magnitude of China. You've got the high-speed trains, you've got the subways, you've got the 10-lane highways. It's built so fast and it's grown so big in such a short time period that it's interesting to the rest of the world. now you get the Western media just berating China that it's probably one of the worst places in the world, and how they they they're they're trying to kill not only the reputation of China but tourism to China, which is big dollars. So when somebody from the United States travels to China, they're actually taking money out of the American economy and putting it into the Chinese economy, which is good for China and not good for America. But you have to understand that Chinese are the biggest travelers of the world. So when this whole thing is over, if you shut down the Chinese, if you're like that to the Chinese, you think that they're going to look back and say, oh, well, we're going to take our 1.4 billion people and have them traveling to your country? A lot of different countries like Thailand have turned into visa-free before this COVID-19 thing hit. So a lot of different countries have taken the visas off Chinese travelers just because there's so many dollars there. It's like, holy smokes, why would you ever want to screw with that? So now that the mainstream media is spouting all of this garbage about China, it's going to stop a lot of these people that would have traveled to China. And that's where the YouTubers like us come in, where we can sort of tell a different story, maybe not as big, but a different story that sort of promotes China in the way that we see it, and maybe dispels some of that bullshit that's coming out of the mainstream media. Did I say bullshit? Oh, bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it, and you don't want to kill that beast, because once those Chinese people don't want to come to your country anymore, you're dropping billions of dollars in.
And in China, in Thailand, 57% of the tourist market is Chinese. Just wanted to say to John H, $10 contribution. Do you believe the Chinese government virus death numbers? Why or why not? Also, can you talk about the disappearance of the virus? Whistleblowers, where are they? Their families are worried. We'll get to that in a moment. Thank you to Zoe. After I saw Alex's video about Chongqing, it makes me feel to say that Disney in theme parks for kids, but China mainland is like a theme park for adult visitors from the world. I cannot agree with you more. Caliber Wings, China virus death numbers. Why can't we see the forest for the trees? The number only tells the story of how deadly this is. Why dwell on this? Good point. Good point. Another thing that I wanted to bring up to you guys is, as we have a lot of people, Western viewers on this channel, China does have something called the 144-hour and 72-hour visas. Matt, do you know much about that? Or is Matt
the travel?
Yeah, about the
100 12 little ones. Thank you for being a member of the JaYoe Nation.
My question, maybe Alex, absolute, you can help me answer this question about the 144-hour visa and the 72-hour visa. Maybe you could explain that to our viewers that don't want to go down and get a visa in their country, and they just want to, maybe they're passing through to, Thailand, and hey, nothing wrong with staying a weekend in Shanghai or Beijing. Maybe you can explain to the viewers what the 144 and 72-hour visa is.
So I hadn't actually heard of the 144-hour, but I guess it works in the same way as the 72, in which you can, if you're passing through and you happen to be at a Chinese airport, you can just get off, and as long as you've got a valid ticket that shows you're not going to just jump straight in there and run off into China, you can get almost like a temporary, you can get the permission to be able to go into China, visit China for those 72 hours, as long as you're back at the airport and you're not you don't overstay, then you don't have to go through the process. Because I don't know how about now, because the thing is, I'm quite boxed off from it, because I came here in 2013 essentially. I've loved it here, obviously, but I've only actually been back to England twice. So usually I've been to England twice, South Africa once to see my family there, and I've also been to France in the summer. But apart from that, I've been here. So I haven't really had a lot of visa applications to do, essentially, because once you do your visa, you just keep renewing and you just keep renewing. But essentially, the 72-hour is just, instead of doing what I did, which took, when I first got here, it was quite a not so easy process, because I had to go to London. London, I come from Bristol, which is like the southwest right over this side. And I had to go to London, which is almost a direct straight line. So it's a couple of 100 miles, 200-300 miles. It wasn't easy. I had to catch a coach from Bristol to London, which is about 4 hours, I guess. Then go and apply, do everything like that, get back on a coach, go all the way back across. And then I think it was like a week later, I had to do the whole thing again to go and get the visa. So it wasn't easy. But if you have this 72 or 144-hour visa, it just means that you don't have to really have any of that hassle as long as you stay within those time.
We can call them pretty much they're kind of like a visa on arrival. I used to use them before, while I was traveling to China to come in. As long as you have they call it a transfer visa. You can touch down in China, but as long as you have a third country that you're going to, everything's okay. In Chongqing they had that, but now I am so blessed with the 10-year visa that the Chinese government has given me, and I have a few people in my audience that say that I should go to China. Check out my channel. I've been there a lot, and I continue to go there. Just so I forgot, guys, we're getting some contributions from our WeChat. So if you guys have, and if you Ness and Up, thank you very much for your 14.
他告诉我我们应该得说中文，所以我们可以听英文，然后我们可以说中文，可以。Kirk, 你在干什么 Alex,
Okay.
你在干什么
他听不懂。
So everybody, it's good that if you have donated to the. Sorry, if it's ni hao. It's good that everybody has made donations through the WeChat. But if we haven't answered your question, could you put them in the comment box so Wesley can help us? And this show wouldn't be possible without the man in control behind the scenes. And Wesley, just so you guys know, has a show on Old School Wolf Media, and I think we can get some links out for that after. Brave K, J, and C. And Wesley, if you have to leave us, no problem. We can hit the stop button. But we'll meet you over there. Gweilo 60 and I will be heading over to that to have a good chat with you there. Out of 4 of you, who always the most Chinese? Just curious. Cheers, you're great. I would say it's got to be me. Because I'm the karaoke king.
No, I think
I like carry a conversation. I like
Alex, absolutely. He's married to a Chinese national.
I'm joking, guys.
National children. He drinks baijiu. He actually starting to look Chinese with that haircut. I'm sure it's got to be Alex Absolute.
Alex Absolute, you're taking the crown. A lot of good laughs today on the show.
I think everybody has.
No, I mean it's quite amazing. I mean, you have such a clash of cultures on this show. It's quite extraordinary because I'm just looking off. If the viewers are wondering what I'm looking at, it's this laptop here on the side. We're trying to not only are we trying to hold a conversation, not only I'm trying to host this show, but I'm trying to see what the heck's going on my channel at the same time. So there's a lot going on here. And if you guys wonder why I always steal the mic, well, these other 3 gentlemen made me the host. It's not my fault, okay? So there is
all your fault. It always
thank you.
Who knows Thomas, where we go if Gweilo was in the host?
Oh boy, Thomas M, thank you very much for your super sticker. I saw a Tim K one come up there, Old School. If you could pull that up. I have traveled on the 144-hour visa 4 times. So there you are. Tim K has got a great channel, guys. Check him out. So guys, we're gonna we got maybe another 5 minutes to go in this show, and then we're gonna round it up, and we're gonna do a round circle here, and just to see what everybody's up to this week. And I'll end it up, and I'm gonna go Gweilo, Matt, Alex Absolute, and then it's gonna come back to me, and we'll go with you. Gweilo, what is going on with you this week? Unmute your microphone, sir.
Oh, I knew that. It's because I got the background noise here. Well, after I'm done here, we're going to go over to West.
Gweilo, I just wanted to... Can you do this with your hand? Just push behind you for a sec. So you're in China. You're not in front of a green screen, right?
Oh no, there's.
Isn't that great?
Oh, and look out my window.
There's a hidden joke there, huh?
Yeah, well, ain't that the truth? But where am I going? You see, after I'm done this, and we go over to old school Wolf Media, Wes's channel. He runs the back end for us here every Saturday morning. He's got a really good channel. You guys should go over there and take a look at that. But now I'm off to a barbecue this afternoon at a friend's house, not an apartment, but a house. So we're off to all the social distancing is basically done here in Nanning. So we're off to that this afternoon. And as usual, over the next week, I'm going to be just making videos like I usually do about my daily life here in China, and all of the things that I see, think, do. I put it on basically just about every day. I might skip a day every once in a while if it's raining outside, I feel funky or whatever. But most of the time, you get a video out of Gweilo 60 every day, and it is about my life. It's about my wife's life. It's about our world here in China. It's what I think, what I do, how I think, and what's happening to us.
Nice.
Basically.
I'm going to you, Alex Absolute. What is cooking with you this week, sir?
Immediately, actually in 10 minutes time from now, I have to be teaching online, so there's that fun. I've actually started really enjoying teaching online because I don't have to really dress up, just have to wear the school's jumper, which is cool. The commute to work is fantastic. But apart from that, I've got a lot of stuff. I went to a park for a friend had a birthday yesterday, day before yesterday, on Thursday, and basically it was over a side of the city where I used to live for 3 years when I had when I first got here, essentially, and now I just forgotten about it, so I want to go back to there, and I want to I've forgotten how beautiful it was, so I've got a couple of videos planned for there, and just editing, do some editing. I love editing, a bit of learning, and all that kind of good stuff, like spending time with my family. That's about it.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm just trying to read something in my forum. Somebody says, Alex, Matt is pissed at the joke since you just insulted his friend.
Huh?
I don't know. Anyway, something like that. Go ahead.
Me or what?
I don't know. Somebody said that somebody's pissed off at me. Maybe they can tell me. Matt, tell us what you're up to this week.
Well, real quick, going in the back, I just left a link in my chat for a interview that was done by a guy named Vincent in China. If you're interested in my backstory, you can check out that link to that video, and you can hear some just kind of where I came from and why I'm traveling around the world and whatnot. In the future, this week, I am planning to put out a series of videos, sort of giving my slant on some of the news that's gone out about China in particular, and so I'm laying out the framework for that. I don't want to speak until I'm pretty sure about what I'm saying, so I've been kind of hesitant to put anything out. But everything's normal, just normal life. The Canton Fair is coming up, and they're going to go virtual this year. The Canton Fair is a global trade fair that links up factories in China with buyers all over the U.S. or in the world. And so there's a big need now that it's gone virtual for people to make videos for factories. So I think I'm going to probably be making commercial videos for factories around the Ningbo here area. And I'm trying to make some money before I return to the road and travel around the world, which I don't know when that's going to happen, but hopefully soon.
Matt, just so I've still got you on the screen, is Thailand on your schedule at all, anywhere?
I've already entered Thailand from Cambodia, cycled all the way down the southern Thailand, all the way. Now I'm in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. I will return to Thailand after New Zealand when I get to Chiang Mai, and then cycle into Myanmar.
We're saying goodbye to Alex Absolute. If you want to leave your audience on here, you can, sir. No problem. If not, we'll gear down with your audience, sorry, Alex, and we'll see you next weekend.
See you all next week. Pump. What a great show.
Thank you very much, Alex.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, Alex.
Cheers, sir.
Right, catch you guys later. Enjoy the
Matt,
rest
Matt, I
of
have one more question for you. Thank you very much,
Bye,
Alex. Yeah, they were talking about my green screen joke. They didn't like that. Anyway, just wanted to ask you, like, can someone join you on some of your journeys when you're cycling and stuff? Like, you know.
Yeah, actually, this is China, the guy that's talking in my channel, the one that interviewed me. He's going to actually do a interview style, sort of like this, because he wants to kind of touch base with me as I travel. I do make daily videos. Really, the reason I started doing YouTube in the first place was because I thought that my travels had value. I think that being able to share the experiences of you actually being on the ground, traveling through these places, is way, way, way more than maybe some analyst's view of a place from afar. So, yeah. I mean, once I get back on the road, I'm good. And you guys can, like Alex said, I've got 1,300 videos on my channel. A lot of those are
fantastic,
traveling around the world.
Yeah, and what a time to catch up on the videos. What a great time. Brave KJNC, yes, thank you. I think we've resolved that one. That's probably Alex Absolute and Matt have got the crown for the best Chinese speakers. I just started my Chinese lessons 2 days ago, and we will continue on that. Ni hao.
Just funny. The first thing I ever learned in Chinese was 我说的不好, which is I don't speak well. And I learned that so well. 我说的不好, 我说的不好. I learned it so well that when I came to China, I spoke perfectly. I don't speak well, and people were so confused. They were like, 我说的不好.
When people start talking to me, I'll look interested, and then at the end I'll go, 什么? And then they'll go through it all again. Then I go, means I don't understand the Chinese language. And they just look at me like, it's a joke. But yeah.
Well, I'm just going to tell you guys what I'm up to this week. This next video that's coming out tomorrow on my channel, this is going to be the first channel that my wife has decided to take full control of, and that means she is going to be the one that is 90% of the video that she's in. She said, I want to be in a video. So I said, okay, let's do that. So that's in Chongqing. I'm not going to tell you where it is. You guys know how to find my channel. You know how to find JaYoe Nation's channel and Gweilo 60s. They're all in the description box. Everybody from us to you, let's hope for a great week. Let's hope a lot of countries around the world will I guess flatten the curve, or what are they calling it? How to flatten the curve? Flatten the curve, and we can get through this and get some of these engines back open and around the world and get some positivity coming in. But do not worry, we are here to entertain you, and we'll continue to do that from wherever we are in the world. So from me to all the viewers, thank you very much, and thank you to the moderators. Thank you, Wesley. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Gweilo. Last words, guys, and then goodbye from me, and you guys take it, and you guys can end it off.
26 degrees outside in Nanning, China. What is it? April the 18th. We're going for a barbecue. Life is good. I love my life. I really do.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you very much.
You want to say goodbye?
Oh, we have a last second guest here. There we go.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you. Okay, JaYoe Nation. Wesley, you can take us out of here. Thank you, everyone. Good night.